So, we're back
We are
again. So, we have been going through our 3-year cycle of Montessori education at Immaculata Catholic Montessori, and I'm back. My name is Teresa Wittry. I'm with Anita Wolbert, and we are working on today language and math. And so again, we're going to progress through year 1 materials, year 2, and year 3. And so, if you're ready,
Here we go.
Here we go.
And it's just a sample.
Yes,
It
there's
looks
so
like a
much.
little smorgasbord, but it's just a taste. It's a little hors
Yes.
d'oeuvre. And I'm sure we will be having an introductory class at some point
Yes.
where we will go into more detail.
Absolutely.
And a full certification course where you get the real deal.
Where you get to experience what I'm experiencing. It's great. I love it.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
actually the practical life, which the full name is Coordination, Control of Movement through Exercises of Practical Life, and the sensorial development sections are the most vital for the development of our young children, for supporting their physical, their cognitive, their social, emotional development, their building community, their character building, their learning refinement, their getting names of things in the world around them, they're getting a real sense of their place, who they are, when it is, where they are. So, just so rich. And although math and language are academic, but yet we're really doing the foundational of these subjects. And so it is still development that we're talking about. It's not just pouring in knowledge, it's still about development. And so I think you'll see that in how we're supporting more than just giving them a lot of knowledge. Children are taught individually. They're not set in a group, we're all going to learn this today. They're taught individually. And we're supporting their individual developmental journey to adulthood. And that is the work of the child, is to become an adult. Our work is to help them. So in the development of language, we'll be focusing here mostly on the sequence, scope and sequence of learning how to read and write really with language, even though we do other things too. I mean, there's speaking and public speaking, where they're speaking in the circle and they have, there's just a lot more to language. But we'll just show a few things here. Before we actually start learning the alphabet, even though they might be able to already sing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, maybe they already know that, that's fine. But there is a skill that comes prior to learning these very abstract symbols that represent sounds, and it's called phonemic awareness. Phonological awareness, you hear phonemic awareness. A phoneme is the tiniest sound, the most basic sound element in a word. And to be able to hear individual sounds in words. So if we were doing a lesson with the beginning sound of a word, we might have a cat, we might have a cat, and a log, and a key, and a tree. Okay, there's a cat, log, tree. The first sound of cat is k, k, cat. Okay, log, t, t, tree. Which one starts with t? Please hand me the word that starts, the object that starts with the sound of t, t, tree. Okay, I'll mix that. Now, which one starts with k? Okay, so we can do some little games of helping them hear initial sounds. And and we also work with, it's the bottom of the tree, we also work with ending sounds, and we focus mostly on rhyming with the ending sounds. And so the rhyming game would be where I might see, well, let's see what we have, a cat, and a fan, and a key, and a dog. We have a hat, a log, a pan, and a tree. I have a cat that somebody hand me the hat? Thank you. Or George, would you hand me the hat? Let's see. Cat, hat. They rhyme. Let's all say that. Cat, hat, they rhyme. I have a dog. A dog. Sandra, would you please hand me log? Dog, log. So at first they don't know what a rhyme means. And so we're telling, let's say cat, hat, dog, log, key, tree, fan, pan. So we're rhyming. And another time as they get better, we have a group of things and they put the rhymes together. And then we have songs, of course, and finger plays and poems that have rhymes in them that all help them develop this hearing sounds. And this has nothing to do with learning the alphabet. This is just hearing sounds and words. This is development of that auditory sense. This is all about the ear. Very important for learning how to read and write is to be able to have an ear, okay? So once we've played games with beginning sounds, ending sounds, rhyming, middle sounds, which one has a middle sound of ah, dogged, og. Please hand me the, so I have a hat and a log and a pan. Please hand me the at. So helping them develop the ability to hear sounds, put them together, take them apart, hear those individual sounds. Greatest predictor of reading success, phonemic awareness. Lack of reading of phonemic awareness, greatest predictor of reading failure. All right, very important. Then, having done a lot of ear training with our little ones, now let's find the sound, the letter that says, so this is cat, and this says k. So it has texture, sandpaper letter. It has texture so I can feel it with my finger. I can see the shape with my eye. I can hear the sound k with my ear. So 3 of my senses are involved. And it's not helpful for them to say this is a C because C doesn't have anything to do with the sound of cat. You don't hear a S in that word. So we're going to be focused, even though it's fine for them to learn the names. It's like a cow has a name and also makes a sound. Well, these are the sounds of the alphabet. Very important. And so the consonants are one color, the vowels are a different color, so it's kind of preparation for seeing the difference. And they start to learn that those words all have to have a vowel. Okay, so we start learning the sandpaper letters. So we start learning the alphabet, phonemic awareness, alphabet. And just to reinforce the alphabet, lots of, on the shelf, we have many things for them to do because one thing is not enough. This is a very important step to be able to identify sounds. So this drawer says, so we have a helmet, a hat, a horse, a hook, a heart, and a hanger. All of these objects start with the sound. Let's tell the story. Helmet, hat, horse. So we're hearing that sound, and not only hearing it, but now we are associating it with a very specific shape. This abstract symbol called the alphabet. Okay, so this is a very important step, is to hear sounds, to learn that phonetic alphabet. Oh, now when they're older, I'll put this over on this side of the table because we'll come back to this. We'll come back to it. The curriculum is actually very spherical. We'll do something and then we come back to the same material at a higher level later. Okay, so that's just an example of some things we do the first year in language. Remember, they're doing practical life, they're doing sensorial, we're very busy. at the end, usually by the end of their first year, so they're usually 3.5, getting on toward 3.5-ish, and they've shown some carefulness and they've done the work previous, they will probably get a lesson on the numerical rods, which look just like the ones we showed in the section that was shown yesterday. They were all red, but now they are painted red and blue in sections that are countable. So this is 1, let's check this. This is 2, let's count it, 1, 2. This is 3, 1, 2, 3. So they're getting the quantity introduced to them before the symbol. Just like in language, we want to hear the sound and then put this abstract thing called the alphabet, apply it. So we are understanding quantity, and then we will associate it with an actual symbol that represents that quantity. This says 2, it isn't really 2, it's just some lines, but it says 2, and it represents this quantity. Okay, so in our math, and I'll just mention the full name for the math avenue is the early preparation of the mathematical mind. So it's early preparation, the mathematical mind. Okay, so quantity first, then symbol, and then we have little things that they can do. This little count and color book that Rebecca did, and so she's not reading yet, but she's coloring with colored pencils, and it's just a nice thing for them to do. So we have when they make 10 pages and they get stapled together, it has a title, it has a name, it's dated, book number, and so they've written a book. Okay, and also toward the end of the first year or middle of the first year, they'll start getting the metal insets. Very important step for them in preparation for in language. So this was about the ear, hearing the sounds, the ear and the eye, identifying those symbols. This is about the hand. So in reading and writing, we prepare the ear, the eye, the hand. This is about development, not just educational knowledge. It's about development. So I'll show you just a sample of how we do. So we have a little square and some colored paper, and we'll take our inset. Whoops. We will take our inset frame, which is easy. I'll just take the circle because it's the first one we show. And they will be shown. We've been spooning, we've been doing all that work with the fingers, and now we're actually working with the pencil. So we're not using markers, we're not using crayons, we're using pencils. And so here we have a circle. And when I have, the teacher will show it first, but when I have collected 10 pages, they may be all circles, but circle, square, triangle, there are 10 of these different geometric shapes, and we've collected them, we staple them together in a book. And so, let's see, this little one, Marissa's, this is shows a beginning child. She has a title and the logo of the school, book 5, the date, her name. So she has a book cover. And so she has her rectangle, a circle, so we have different colors of paper, and a square. So these are not perfectly done, but they are beautiful efforts in coordinating and controlling that writing instrument. So before we try to expect them to be able to make perfect letters, for them to have a lot of practice using a pencil, again, not a marker, not crayons, but a precise instrument that actually has a sharpened tip, that making these shapes prepares them for beautiful writing later. So this is hers. This is a beginning book. There's her trapezoid. And then David's, this shows a more advanced. So here his trapezoid is different colors. He's filling it in. Now he's using white paper. He's filling it in. He's superimposing different shapes. And he has 2 triangles. He's made a 6-pointed star. And this is beautiful work that, and I don't know why I got to keep this book, but usually their books are prizes, so I sometimes give it. He liked this one. He put a star on it. But he put 2 ellipse shapes. And he was so proud he put his name on the front of that one. But it's beautiful. So this is very beginning work, and so 2 children, 5 children can be working on this, and at very different levels. But doing this kind of work, preparing their hand for precise work with a pencil, is how we get to be able to do this precise work of the maps and being able to color very beautifully the little parts of the trees and the fish and the flower and all those things. So the eye, the ear, the hand, this is all physical, really, physical and cognitive preparation for language. Okay, so that's quite a lot about. So the first year depends on the children, how much they get into the insets, but usually they don't get beyond, they usually are, at this level, first year.
That outline. So thank you.
That's a lot to do.
That's a lot to do in
But
year
they're
one.
doing practical life and sensorial too.
Right. This is also why we are here 5 days a week.
That's right.
Monday through Friday. They have a lot to do.
But the math, they don't start that the first day in. Usually that's end of the year. So there's some of these that after they've been able to walk through a room holding a tray with water on it, they're able to do those puzzles, that they've reached the point of sequence and of refinement, that they can start doing more things.
Even at a level of concentration,
Yes.
because when you're going to count, you have to be able to stay with the counting sequence.
Most children come in, they know how to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they go really fast.
Yes.
But just get them to slow
Just slow
down.
and really look at the quantities.
Yeah.
And so
So you've seen that because you've given that lesson.
I've seen it. So the grounding in the first year then, would you say, is again more of a sensorial, because another Montessori principle is moving from concrete to abstract. So if you notice, every material that you see, we're moving concrete to abstract, and how abstract is language and math. And math is just another language of symbols.
Most of us were taught
So-
math abstract, and then if we didn't get it, then they draw us a picture. If
Right.
we still didn't get it, then they bring us a pizza. And if we still didn't get it, they say, never mind.
Right. So instead of
we
starting
start with the concrete.
Right, start with the concrete and move, and I think you'll see that as we move into year 2
Yeah.
here with language and math, how we continue on that train of
Yeah.
concrete to abstract and known to unknown.
2 important principles.
Yes.
Yay, Teresa. Okay. So year 2, and it's hard to say exactly where the
Right.
children are. It's the same road for everyone. They all walk the same road.
It's a little
but
squishy
it's-
wind.
But it's the speed in which they go is very individual. So we don't want to hold back the quicker ones. We don't want to try to push ahead those that need more time. And we're not impressed if they're quick. That's just where they are, and we're going to help them to the next step. So that's why it has to be individual. All right. So having learned the alphabet, having developed an ear for sounds, and having learned those symbols, and to be able to identify it when we see them, this is often second year. We just have to say the typical child. And so we call these word pockets. Let's see what's in this pocket. Oh, it's a man. Hello there. And we have some letters. Oh, here's a N. And this is upside down, and an A. Okay, those are the letters that we need to build the word man. Let me listen to man. Man. What's the first sound I hear? we have a here it is. Sit it right on that line. Let's listen for the next sound of man. There's a. Let's listen again. Man. Man. Okay. Now, if they saw a billboard that said man, they, at this level, wouldn't necessarily be able to read that because it's very abstract. That takes blending, and it's a part of the brain that it's an abstract task of decoding these symbols. But we are encoding. We are hearing the sound. As Teresa said, we're going from the concrete. The concrete is hear the sound, and we're going to apply this abstract symbol to it. And so this is writing. And so what Montessori discovered is that writing comes before reading. So this is much easier than trying to teach them to read man, okay, or to memorize. I mean, they could memorize words. Okay, so these are word pockets. We have a lot of these. We also have a movable alphabet that we didn't bring here because it would take too much space. But it has all 26 letters. So it's the next step in their sequence. This one, there's all the right letters are here. They're just not in the right order. And so we have the right letters, but the next step would be to have a man or a cat or a tub or a mop, and then go to all 26 letters and pick out those letters and then build. Okay, so that's the next step. And accompanying work for them would be this child, Victoria, my short vowel book. These are all short vowel words. We start with 3-letter words: vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, CVC. And these are all words that have an and in the middle. So he wrote van. This means that she had built van, and she had built hat, and now she's writing it. And she's made herself a book of short vowel words to take home. So that's a follow-up activity. This is much more advanced than that, but this is a book of blends. So this is a little bit older child, since it's right there. Cheese, church, cherries, chair, they all have a ch in them, so the WH, CH. So there's a whole series of lessons on blends, but we start with short vowel words, and they could take their whole second year just at this level of building words and then writing when they're ready to be a writer. Okay, so that's language. Okay, so this is not just the word pockets, but the whole alphabet. Takes that second year. This is probably one of the most popular math activities, very popular, in this kind of age. It could be a little younger, it could be a little older, but kind of this age. They've learned to count. They've learned that sequence of 1 to 10. They can see a 4 and identify the quantity. They really are clear about numbers 1 to 10. So now, but this is, okay, let me just say this is always a 3. It's not 3 separate things creating a 3. It's fixed. But now we go to the next step, a little bit more abstract, that we're going to create that 3. And so we have the numerals from 0 to 9 across the top. And we have a box of what we call spindles, little dowels, and a little container of rubber bands. And we will be counting. We'll look at our number and count and put the right number in, tie it with a rubber band, and if we've done it correctly, we will use all of the spindles, and they will all have something except 0 will have nothing. And if they ask about that, say it's nothing. 0 is nothing, so it's an empty space there. So we will get the beginning of that concept about 0. So, but if, for example, we're on 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so in a very physical way, we feel what quantity 4 feels like. And if it's quantity 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, 9 are very physically, we feel this quantity. It's not just a number on a computer screen or a picture of 9 puppies. It's something that we really feel very physically, and then just to put the rubber band on and put it in there. This lesson gets done over and over, and these are very high quality materials. This had been used heavily since 1992. It's in perfect condition, and the children use it a lot. Okay, so from here, there's many other lessons really anchoring the number 1 through 10. But when we move beyond that, and this could still be our second year, or it might be the third year, but very often, most often, we move to the decimal system, the beautiful golden bead materials in the second year. Having the foundation there, really being very clear on numbers 1 to 10. Before we go to number 11, this is our opportunity to really see how our number system is organized. There's lots of different number systems, but this is a 10-base system. The decimal system is the one that they're learning, and so we'll get a kind of a bird's eye view of how that works and how it looks. So we begin with a unit, which is a golden bead, and we have this rod of 10 of beads on the rod, so this is 10. Then we have the square of 100, so we have 10 of the 10 bars to make the 100 square. And then we happen to have 10 of these 100 squares to make our 1,000 cube. And so this has weight. It's really 1,000 beads in there, so it's very, very physical. I know what we could have brought is the numeral cards, but if we just showed them a number that said 1,000, 1,000, or a 100, or a 10, it's meaningless for children. These are young children, but 1,000. So they learn the names: 1 unit, 110, 100, 1,000. And then with these materials, we have a whole shelf of materials. They'll be making displays, they'll have bank games, store games, a lot of activities with these materials. So in a very, very concrete way, they see the hierarchies of units, the hierarchy of tens, of hundreds, of thousands, which is so foundational to our decimal system. So numbers 1 to 10, vitally, you can't go anywhere if you don't know 1 to 10. And then to have a sense of how our number system is organized. Beautiful. So this is starting to read, and actually many of them start reading at this level and started their golden beads, getting very good at the pencil work. And so, Teresa, did I leave something out that you wanted to be sure to say before we go to year 3?
So the one thing that is fascinating to me is the stop in the decimal system before moving on to 11, 12, 13, and how it really is it's an interesting bridge to go from 1 to 10, stop in the decimal system, and then they're working with numbers in the thousands, but as you said, in a very concrete way, that they're really getting a sense, again, so all the avenues going to the sensorial.
It's still very sensorial. It's math, but it's sensorial.
Sensorial, how 1,000 and then 600s, and I just watched them today play a bank game.
Oh, did you?
And it was, they loved it. They loved it.
And it wasn't teaching them how to do math. It was giving them the experience of what it's like to put together, or to take away, or to put together the same number, or to share equal, division, sharing equally. They get the experience, which they get the experience in such a happy way. It's like, it's exciting to get to learn how to do it with just a pencil later.
Right. So, and again, when you're just in the abstract, you have that memory from the experience that like you've said to us before, your old friends.
Yeah.
I've seen this before. Oh, the units,
Yeah.
the tens. I know these things. Yeah.
Right. So when they finally get to do
So
that,
when
when we go to the shelf, the it's like, today, we're starting the golden beads. They think,
Well,
the dance teacher would say, you think you think the king was their cousin.
Yes, golden beads, and that they've, I'm sure, dusted when they were 3
Yeah.
because they wanted to do them, but now they're.
And Teresa talked about the number 11 and number
Yes.
12. And so in this same year, they'll probably, second year, it depends. And so 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, but if we put a 1 there, it becomes 11. And then we'll tell the story. 10 and 1 make 11. 10 and 2 make 12. So they're getting a sense of 10, 11, 12, 13. These are the hardest numbers between 1 and 100.
Right.
The teens are difficult.
Mhm.
And so once they have this foundation, this is,
Right. It
okay.
makes more sense.
Yeah. So we move on there, and now we're ready for year 3.
Now we're ready for year 3.
And if we're not reading yet, we're reading this year for sure.
Right.
The children that have gone through this sequence of materials and just being around this educational environment and hearing other children reading, and they have a desire. They want to teach. I've had children, we've got to learn those alphabets. Let's
Right.
practice.
Right.
But
There's a lot
many go way beyond the short vowel level,
Yes.
but we want them at least
Right.
to be in their 3rd year, which they would be 6, so they'd be ready to go on to 1st grade, to be reading at the short vowel level pretty well, and the cat hat type
Right.
books.
But as you said, and in our school, we have materials for the gallopers that go to the long vowels and reading actual classified reading, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about.
Okay.
So,
All right. So
okay, so year 3.
Okay, so
And
year
year
3, still, so we did the short vowels and we did some blends, and then we just brought a little bit of the long vowel. So there's, in the English language, once children can read about the cat and the bat and the tub and the mom and the mop and the dad and the hat, they're readers, but then the bad news comes that there's a few more things to learn about reading. And that is sometimes when this says but when these 2 letters stand together, they say A. When they stand together, they say A. This is A. So we have this little box of A, and we don't say AI, but it says A. And so we have male, sail, tail, pale, jail, and rain. All of these have that letter pattern, and they're long vowels. So we have a drawer, a little box of AI, a box of AY, like pray, say, day, may. And so it's AY, AI, and A with a silent E, like plate. And so there's several different ways to say A when letters come together. So they, there's another movable alphabet where they can build these words, and then labels for them to read them. And so they can become very familiar with this letter pattern. I mean, there's IGH and OUGH and EA and EE, so many, but we were trying to break it down in the vowels that come together to make those long vowel sounds. And so lots of materials to help support that reading. So this has the AI here, and there's the word hail, and the H, and then the AI is in red. L. So this is hail, and so now they have a sentence. Rain and hail fell on the land. So all of these words are short vowel words or words, useful words we call like and the that they've learned. And then we'll throw in the AI pattern. So this is a teacher-made material. So in language, many of our materials are teacher-made materials to give them a lot of practice. So they need practice in reading to themselves, reading to each other, reading to the teacher, reading at home. Okay, so we can move from the short vowel to the long vowel into blends, into other letter patterns. And then we get beyond that into what we call general reading, where it's beyond a phonetic pattern. So the reading is not limited to the pattern of the letters, but it's to the subject matter. Example would be, we didn't show this before, but the little ones are learning the names of these farm animals. Most of them know a pig and a cow, but a goose, all right? And so this is a vocabulary. And then the next step, we have illustrations of each of these to go a little bit more abstract to see a picture of it. But then with our third year children, they can pull out their friend, the farm animals basket that they had as a 3-year-old. And here we have farm animals, and we have the name. So there's goose. And that's a pretty complicated word. It's not a short vowel, it's not a long vowel. And donkey, horse. So these are not necessarily short vowel words that they would learn at this beginning level. This reading is organized according to subject, not according to phonetic pattern. That's general reading. So they'll go back to all of this vocabulary that they had, the fish, and there's labels for the caudal fin and the dorsal fins and the gill openings, and those labels for all of that. So they will go back in this spiral, the spherical curriculum, to read everything. They can read, we've got labels that say long and short. The geometric, all the geometric shapes, figures. So, and another example would be this little alphabet box that had the heart and the horse and the hat. So this purpose is for them to hear that sound, the beginning sound of a word, but we'll use the same material, third year, and we have labels for it. So they'll pull the same box out: hanger, horse, hat, hook, helmet, heart. I mean, there's the EA, there's a hook, hat, short vowel, horse, or, hanger. So these are not organized according to letter pattern, but to the subject. And the subject is things that start with H. So we don't have to keep going forever linearly with new materials. We come back and use all of our old stuff. And so the more we understand how this works, the easier it gets, because we just add more to what we already have. Okay, what about math for this third year? Okay, so they've learned 1 to 10, they've seen the decimal system, they've gotten past 11, 12, they've gotten the teens, and so this was called basic counting, and now we're moving toward advanced counting. So we brought the 100 bead chain. So this has 10 of those golden 10 bars that they're very accustomed to, 10 of those to make the 100 chain. So we have a beautiful felt, and we lay out linearly our 100 chain, and we begin to count each bead 1 through 100, and we have arrows to label them, and the 100 is a big red arrow. And then we see that we have counted them, we've proved it, we have validated for ourselves. The teacher said that this was 100, This was 100, but we've counted them now. Yes, there are 100 beads in the 100 bead square. So this is 100 in a linear way, 100 in a square. You see the brain building connections here? Okay, here's the great news. We can bring it down, but there is a 1,000 bead chain that has 10 of these, 10 hundreds. And where are we going to put the 1,000 chain here? It's probably going to go from the prayer table to the kitchen. I think it will go from the prayer table to the kitchen, and it has a very long purple felt, and the children will count from 1 to 1,000. 687, 688. Okay, it takes 2.5 hours if you're going at a regular clip. We usually stop for stack, but we'll start it first thing in the morning. This is something that I really, it's always been my goal that all of my third-year children get the opportunity to really count that chain, because where will they ever have that opportunity again to count 1,000? So once they see what 1,000 is in a linear way, they can easily imagine what 2,000 is. What is 3,000? What is 10,000? It's 10 going this way. So it's just like there's so much concrete understanding of numbers. It's not just bazillion or something. It's something, so they're getting a real sense of big numbers. Okay. This is skip counting. So we have a whole set of from 1 to 10, but we just brought the 5. And so we have colored beads, so the 5 here, and we have a label that says 5. And we count our beads. 1, 2, very slowly, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we label our chain, and then to 15, then to 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. We have 25 beads in the chain of 5. And so we can, let's see if I can, let's read it, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So we'll play a little game and read them faster. And it's really a foundation for memorizing our times tables. It's the beginning of that, but in such a beautiful way. But it has, other things that we can learn about numbers. With this, once we've turned them over, let's see if we can still do it. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And this helps them start telling time once they can count by 5, so they can start telling time better. And maybe one day I'll say, oh, I wonder if this chain of 5 if we could fold it into a square. Let's fold it into a square. Put my arrows away. Oh, I forget, how many did we have in the chain of 5? I think it was 25. Let's see. It looks like a square. Let's get our 5 square, and we will see if they are the same. They are the same. So this is the square of 5. So how many beads did we have in that chain? 25. And so the square of 5 is 25. The square of 5 is 25. So we will have the square of 4, the square of 6, the square of 10. Of all the numbers, the beads go to the square of that number, and it makes a square. And so we might even ask further, so I wonder what's the square root of 25? Well, here it is. There's the root. 5. The square root of 25 is 5. That's the root. Okay. So what does that mean? It just means that we're enjoying math. Math is beautiful. Math is predictable. It doesn't play tricks on us like some of our English words do. I have never had a child that didn't love math, Montessori math. It's beautiful. It's fulfilling to work with and to handle. The children love it. And so to be able to begin our academic career with a warm feeling about math is a gift. How many people, I always say, how many people didn't enjoy math? A lot of people didn't enjoy math, but with this, we can't help it. And just a quick word about, this is really foundational for understanding our numbers and our number system. Just, it's very foundational, but we do eventually get to the operations of arithmetic. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So we have lots of lessons, but one of them is a strip board. And so we have strips from 1 to 9 of red and blue that I pulled out of my little bag. Again, teacher made. So a lot of these materials you'll see in here, they've been handmade by dedicated teachers. And this one says 9 plus 5. Well, we don't expect them to know what 9 plus 5 is. Everything is very concrete. So we have the display of the blue and the red, but they bring out the 9 and they put the 5 next to it. 9 plus 5 equals, the answer is right there, or they could count 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 9 plus 5 equals 14. Or they could look up there and see it. So, and this board has a lot of variations, things to do in addition, and it makes addition really a lovely experience. And there's materials for subtraction and multiplication. So here's an example of this one. Says my book of addition tables. Well, this child had started with 1, 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 3, and built a whole table of ones, the table of twos. And this is a 5-year-old, third-year student, and then I have a little stamp for them when they check their work on a chart to make sure the answer's right. They got to put a little star on their paper. That means they checked their work. But, the handwriting is beautiful. This child is, all 3 years, and she has 1 plus 1 all the way to 9 plus 9. And then there's a chart that she can check her answers before she takes it home. So this is an example of a book. So we don't like to send home papers that are just going to be on the bottom of the floor of the car. We like to send them in a nice little book. And here's Benjamin's, my first book of subtraction. And so he has done 5, take away 3. And a few of these are erased because we didn't quite get the right answer, and we checked it on the chart, and we had to go count them again and try it again. So again, with subtraction, it's all beads, it's all concrete, and we don't expect them to have everything, all these things memorized before they go to first grade, but guess what? A lot of times they do, just because they repeat things over and over. And I think that is what we had to talk today about our 3 years in these subjects.
Yes. So between yesterday and today, we've kind of taken you on a journey of our 3-year program here at Immaculata when they start at 2.5 or 3 years of age and stay with us until they're 5.5 or 6.
And Teresa is the one to talk to.
Yes, you can call me.
And we'll be doing teacher training, and then you'll see me.
Yes.
And Teresa.
If you would like to do teacher training, yes, please contact me.
It's coming.
It's coming. So
here we are. Thank you for joining us. This has been an absolute joy. We hope that you have a lot of questions about things, and then we get to talk to you again.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.